I have such mixed feelings about making this video. According to the Google AI overview, an everyday luxury can mean incorporating indulgent sensations into daily life or finding new ways to enhance ordinary things. As a somewhat recently financially conscious person, I have realized there are some things that are kind of unnecessary to spend money on, but that really do make a big difference in my quality of life on a day-to-day basis. And even though they may be a little bit frivolous, a little bit unnecessary, they matter to me. So I'm personally making this video more to contribute to the dialogue of things that are unnecessary necessities, or like things that I've kind of deemed necessary for my life, things that I'm willing to spend the money on, and not so much as like these are all the things I think you should buy. I think everyone needs to make their own decisions about what falls into this category, but I think it's also interesting to hear from other people what they value and why. And if anything does sound appealing from this, I'm hoping that the timing of this video coincides with some good Black Friday deals, so anyone who does feel compelled to buy something because of this can at least do so on sale. That being said, if you're interested in these kinds of videos that are like kind of financial related, kind of like lifestyle based, I did make a video on the most expensive purchases of my 20s and my entire career path and how much money I've made over the last 10 years. So check those out. But in that most expensive purchases video, we went from my most expensive expenditures to least expensive, and today we're gonna do the opposite. So starting with the cheapest everyday luxuries. And the first one feels really silly, but it's no-show socks that actually work. The that actually work part is really important because I have tried so many different brands of no-show socks that just do not cut it. And I feel like this sounds like I'm teeing up a sponsorship, but I have less than 1,500 subscribers as of recording this and no one is sponsoring me. So this is just my honest opinion and like reviews of a couple different brands that I've tried. I've tried like the ones that you can get from like Walmart or Target that just come in a pack that are no-show socks. Those have never worked for me. I've tried Bombas. Those did not work really well for me, but I'm thinking about going back to them. We'll get to that in a minute. And the last ones that I've tried that I have bought, I think I'm on my second repurchase of now, are Ondo no-show socks. And one of my friends called these Tom's socks because to her they looked like the Tom's shoe. And I kind of agree. They do look a little bit silly, but I think the cut of them is why they work so well. And that's why I really like them. I personally hate having to fix my no-show socks. I hate when it slips off the back of your heel and it's just like stuck in your shoe. And I wear white sneakers pretty much every day, except in the winter. And then I have one pair of Doc Marten boots that I wear with like taller socks. But other than that, I'm wearing my white sneakers and I'm wearing them with no-show socks. So having good quality socks that work properly is really, really important. And these ones are really comfortable. I like that they have a grippy strip in the back that, again, actually works. I've used so many socks that have the grippy strip and it's like really thin and it does absolutely nothing. And these are just like sewn to fit. You can buy them in different sizes. That's another thing with the no-show socks. I feel like there is no one size fits all. If you see that in a no-show sock, run the other way. This is so dramatic for something so simple. It's not even just socks, it's like specifically the no-show ones. But I have learned a thing or two over the years from making this purchase so many times. So I like the Ondo ones, the shape of them, everything. I feel like they're just engineered well, designed well. And I also only buy the black ones now. So I used to buy, I think when I first got them, I got white ones, or maybe I got like a pack of white and black. And when I went to repurchase them, once my other ones started getting holes after like 2 to 3 years, I only bought black ones because my white ones got really dirty and the stains like never fully come out of white socks in my experience, especially the thinner fabric ones. And I don't like the bottoms of my socks looking gross. So I just buy black socks now for the most part. And those have served me very well until I got new white sneakers, and now the white sneakers that I have are like a little bit lower cut than my other ones were. And the Ondo socks are visible, and the fact that I have black socks and they're visible does bother me a little bit because they're not really no-show anymore. So I'm thinking about trying a different brand next time I have to repurchase, just to see if I can get ones that are cut a little bit better, or maybe seeing if Ondo has like a different option of the no-show sock. But for now, I'm still gonna wear the ones I have until they start falling apart, because They stay on my foot, and I care more about that than I care about a little bit of the black part of the sock poking out. The second one is Euro-sized pillows. And you're gonna see like a lot of my weird, I don't want to say like habits or like preferences, I guess, come out in this video, especially in these first two. These are just like really oddly specific things, but Euro-sized pillows are perfect in my opinion. They're big square pillows that go on your bed. And I like them because they're of a dimension where usually if I'm sitting in bed and my only option is a regular pillow and I want to read at night, I will turn my pillow vertically and use that to like support my back and everything while I'm sitting in bed reading. You could also probably solve this by having like an upholstered headboard, but I don't have one of those. And again, not a recommendation, it's just this is what I enjoy. My Euro-sized pillows make a big difference to me because when I'm sitting in bed reading, it covers your whole back. It makes you feel a little bit cocooned. It feels like the adult version of those, like, I think they were called like husband pillows or something, but it looks like a little chair. And I feel like everyone had them in college when they first moved into their first dorm room. That kind of pillow. This is the upscaled, like, adult version of that, where you still get the comfiness, but it looks nice on your bed and you don't just have what looks like half of a chair sticking out of your bed. So I really enjoy that. I did spend not too much money on the original pillow inserts. I think I got those from Amazon and they were pretty affordable. I will say the first pillowcases I got for them were on sale from Pottery Barn and they were fine. They matched the colors of my room. They served their purpose, but I definitely just got them because they were on sale. So I did end up a few months later buying some nicer ones that were in a style that I liked a little bit more, and then just moving the old ones off of my bed and onto other pillows that I use around my coffee table as like floor seating. So I would say the Euro-sized pillows themselves and then like a fun pillow sham is important to me. Again, it just makes making the bed easy because I don't have a lot of decorative pillows. I just have like the pillows we sleep on and then a Euro pillow on each side, and I think it looks great. I think it's just enough. It's not overwhelming. Honestly, my partner doesn't even use his, and does it make me a little bit upset? Yes, but it's fine. He will come around someday, or maybe never, to the comfort of the Euro-sized pillow. And third on the list, we have a gel nails kit. And this is something that I've been using for a very long time. This goes all the way back to high school for me. I first got into nail art when I was like 15 or 16, and I loved nail art. I loved doing a bunch of little designs. I would like use little hacks from Pinterest using things around the house like toothpicks and Q-tips and little like cut up pieces of sponges and just all of those things to do my own nail art at home. And then when I got my first job, I discovered the gel manicure and that became a staple of my routine. I was very strict, like every other week I'm going to get my nails done at the nail salon with my little high school job money. Then when I started college, I was super not committed to finding a new salon. I just didn't want to go through that process, and I liked the salon I went to at home a lot. So I would get my nails done sometimes during the holidays, but definitely not as much. And then around my second year of college, I got myself a gel nails kit so I could do my own gel nails. And I used that thing all through college, all through, honestly, a few years ago. And then finally the first nail lamp that I got died. And so I got a new nail lamp. But ever since then, I have just done my own gel nails at home. I've gotten my nails done a few times at the salon, and I'm really not too big on it. I wouldn't say I regret when I go, but I would say that it doesn't feel super worth it to me. The last time I got my nails done by someone else was before I went to the UK and went to the Eras tour, and I wanted a lot of nail art that I didn't feel like I had all the supplies to do at home, and I also wanted it to last for like a full month. And when I do my nails at home, it'll last between like a week to 2 weeks. 2 weeks is like on the higher end for sure. It usually lasts a week, but what I find is that it doesn't chip because it's gel, but it will start to lift at the edges and then the whole nail will just kind of peel off. But that's because I don't buff my nails a lot. I'm really trying to be careful, I guess, about how I do my gel nails. I don't like the feeling of like the gel destroying your nail. So I just won't do any kind of like intense buffing or like roughing up of the surface of my nail. And then usually my nails will just like peel off as one whole thing. So that happens at about the 1 week to like week and a half mark. Again, sometimes I can stretch it to 2 weeks, but usually they start peeling and then I just peel them all off all in one day. But I really enjoy doing them at home. I find that I'm a lot less picky when I do them at home. If I'm paying someone else to do my nails, I want them to look perfect, and if they don't, I'm really annoyed. If I do them myself and they don't look perfect, I tend to cut myself a little bit more slack, or I put in like the extra 2 seconds to clean something up as I'm doing them. So that is just what works for me. And over the years, I have gotten more like tiny little nail polish bottles and like big packs of different colors. And I find that really enjoyable because when I first started, I would buy like the big bottles that they use at salons, and I just had like 5 colors I rotated between. But over the last 2 or so years, I've invested in more of the big packs with like tiny bottles, and it comes out to be about the same price as buying a few of the bigger bottles. And I feel like I get to mix up my colors more often, and I feel like I'm actually using all of the nail polish before the bottle starts getting dried up and like gunky. So that has been really enjoyable for me. I've also recently gotten some of the little like chrome powders and like mirror powders, so that's been really fun to play with. And I've gotten some like nail art tools. And all of this has happened over the span of several years. I did have to make one upfront purchase of, I think I got like 2 or 3 different colors when I started. I got like the base coat, top coat, that kind of like basic set, and then I got the lamp. So those materials were a little bit of money up front, but everything else I've just been like building a collection, and it kind of feels like a hobby in a way, even though I wouldn't really say nail art is one of my hobbies, but it is like an activity that I do pretty often, and usually I'll like watch YouTube while I do it, and it kind of saves me money in a way. I think if I were to calculate what I would have spent on getting my nails done every other week for the last several years, especially with inflation and the cost of getting your nails done changing significantly like over the last 5 years, I feel like the lump sum of money that I have spent on all of my at-home nail stuff is significantly less than what that is. Also, I just still get the experience of having my nails done really nicely and done in a way where they're not chipping all the time, because that has always been a big problem for me with regular nail polish. Number 4, we have my desk chair, which I had been putting off buying a new desk chair for a very long time. I have never thought that having a nice desk chair was that important. I've never thought that it was that big of a value add compared to how expensive a lot of the nice desk chairs are, like the ergonomic ones and things like that. So I put it off forever, basically. My first chair that I had, I actually got because, how did I get that one? That one was from, oh, I remember. Okay, so my first desk chair that I had was super ugly, but I was living in this 2-bedroom apartment on campus when I was an RA in college, and I stayed on to be an RA for the summer, but my roommate moved out because she wasn't doing summer semester and they didn't give me a new roommate. So anyway, she left behind her desk chair, which was weird, but it was this giant black office chair, really ugly. I think she probably just didn't have room in her car to take it home or something, and she never came back to pick it up. So she left it there, and I just kind of absorbed it. But then when I moved back in with my parents in 2020, I got this an office chair that looked nicer because I wanted my space to be a little bit cuter, and I didn't want to spend a lot of money on it, so I got a pretty cheap chair from Wayfair, and it was not comfortable at all. It was really squeaky. The funny thing is I got a new chair because my other chair was starting to get really squeaky. So I got this new chair, and then it was always really squeaky, but at least it looked better. So I had that through living with my parents, through my last apartment, through moving in with my partner. And then a few months ago, actually the first thing that I actually properly saved up money for that was a bigger purchase, more than a couple $100s. This was the first like big ticket item since I started budgeting that I actually put aside money for every month and said, you know what, I'm gonna save like $50 or $100 every month until I can buy my chair. And it didn't take that long, but that was the first thing I actually put in the discipline to save up for. And that felt really good, but maybe that's part of why I have really good feelings associated with my desk chair. I don't think that's the only reason, because as soon as I put it together and as soon as I sat in it, I realized not necessarily why these chairs cost so much, but why it is important to have a desk chair that fits your body proportions properly and is just comfortable, like period, and supportive to your back. So I've just really enjoyed having a nicer desk chair. It's really beautiful. I'm staring at it right now. I like the design a lot. I like the fabric choices and like the color options that they had. I also liked that through their website, I could do like a little quiz and put in my height and some other information, and it would tell me what chair of all of their offerings made the most sense for me. And that was another thing that was really important to me. If I was going to spend all this money on a chair, I wanted it to work with my height because I am quite short. I'm 5 foot nothing, and most desk chairs are not made for someone of that height. And a lot of the really nice ergonomic ones have features that will have like a neck pillow that's in the middle of my head. So I wanted something that actually made sense for me, and I feel like that's what I got. So I cannot recommend a nice desk chair enough, especially if you're someone who works from home. And I have 3 remote days a week. So more often than not, I'm working in my home office than I am elsewhere. Alrighty, and that brings us to number 5. This is the most expensive thing on the list, and this is an espresso machine. And funnily enough, I actually did not buy this myself. When I was moving in with my partner last year, it was around the holidays, so we decided that for Christmas, our gifts to each other were gonna be things for the house. So I got him a new rice cooker because he really wanted a new rice cooker, and he got me an espresso machine. So that being said, I really enjoy the espresso machine. Again, this is similar to the gel nails. I think this is something that over time does save money, because I used to be the kind of person who would always get coffee out, especially at my old place. I lived right next to a coffee shop, and I got coffee out so many times there. I'm actually working on a video to show how much money I spent on different categories last year versus this year, being more financially conscious, and calculating all the times I went to that coffee shop, whether it was to get a coffee, to get a little pastry, whatever. I feel like I single-handedly funded some part of their business. I probably paid an entire person's salary there. Like, I spent a lot of money at this one coffee shop. So part of me moving in, we knew that I wasn't going to have that kind of access to just be able to walk across the street and grab a coffee anymore. So that was part of why he bought me the coffee machine. It was kind of like, we can make coffee at home now that you don't have as easy walkable access to coffee places because I'm moving in with him. But it's been just really amazing. For the longest time, I was being really cheap about it. And I had one syrup that I bought at my previous place. It was like a lavender syrup. I really like lavender lattes. But in the past couple months, I have ordered a few more syrups because I've realized that it's not just the making the coffee. Like, I do really like a good plain latte with really good coffee beans, but I also really enjoy the flavors. So I've started to allow myself to like buy a few more things related to the coffee making setup that just make it better for me. I think that's what it's all about, these kind of like everyday luxuries, like ways that you're treating yourself. I mean, one of my things on this list could have just been going to get coffee out all the time, but for me and not having as walkable access anymore, that would be more of a pain. So it's nicer for me to have the machine where I can make it at home. And I've really been enjoying that. Definitely a learning curve there. I think I had a vlog earlier this year where I think I was using it for the first time by myself because he figured it out way before I did. It took me several tries before I got it right. And even recently, we've started playing around with some different settings. And I feel like sometimes I make it and it turns out perfectly, and then other times it doesn't. And I feel like I'm doing it the same all the time. So it's not like it's ever bad. I'm just still trying to figure out exactly the right options for the type of beans that I have, or if we get different beans or whatever. So anyway, the espresso machine has just been like a huge level up for me, and like really, really nice to be able to make that nice latte at home, because that was the one thing. Like, I've had a French press before. I used to have a Keurig a really long time ago. Like, I've tried a lot of different ways of making coffee, and for me, I've always just loved a latte, and that was always the one thing I couldn't make at home. So the fact that I can, is just super nice. And I think that wraps it up. I feel like this was a good mix of things, very different aspects of my life and some like very niche things that are important to me. But I hope this gives you some ideas or like gets you thinking of the kinds of things that like bring the most value to you on a daily basis. Please let me know if something immediately came to mind for you just hearing the concept of like an everyday luxury. I think everyone has very different preferences here, and that's why I wanted to get kind of niche and kind of weird with some of these, because I just think it's so interesting from like a money psychology perspective, like what actually matters enough to people to spend the extra money on to get the nicer thing. And I think that's also probably just because I'm a little bit nosy. So if nothing else, I hope that you enjoyed this video for entertainment value, and make sure to stay tuned for that video that I'm going to be making beginning of next year, reviewing all my spending in these kind of like unnecessary miscellaneous shopping categories this year compared to last year when I wasn't doing any kind of budgeting or tracking.